First question, 𝗪𝗖𝗡𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧.
Hey, Coach, how impressed have you been with the defense over, I guess, the last week or so? It seems like you guys are paying more attention to detail and getting more stops on a routine basis.
Yeah, I feel good about our defense, or I should say I feel better about our defense. You know, defense takes time, it takes repetition, it takes, like you said, attention to detail. And with the more repetition that we have, the better we get at it. And that's just a fact. And it's very much related to being able to have a practice like we had today, and but also using the different ways of teaching that we have, whether it's writing it on the board or showing it with video or walking through. We have to be on all of those aspects of teaching so that we can get better. But the best teacher is actual gameplay. And the more games that we play, it seems like the better our defense gets.
Jonathan Fagan.
Hi, Steve. Did you get a couple guys back today, Christian and Daniel House? And with Daniel being out as long as he has been, how do you work him back, assuming you have that option?
Yeah. So he was back today in practice, and it's going to take a little while for him to get back. Kind of in the swing of things, there was the back injury and then the the COVID stuff. So yeah, it's going to take him a little while to kind of get back and the flow of what we have going on. And I have to be smart about his minutes and how much he can do. He was good in practice today, though. Christian, we're still kind of working through the ankle stuff and trying to see if he's going to be available today. He had an excused absence for personal reasons, but we're still working on the ankle, so we're not 100% sure about him and his availability.
Thank you.
Fred Katz.
Hi, Stephen. Just the attention to tomorrow. I'm just curious. I know John is an emotional guy sometimes. I covered him for a few years in Washington. What's he been like leading up to this game? Is it something you guys have discussed? Has he talked about it at all?
Not so much. I mean, he obviously had the injury coming back and played limited minutes in the Dallas game. And we're still kind of working through that injury part of it. So that's really been the focus most of all with him. Obviously, it's a big game for him and his first time playing against the Wizards. So there will be emotions involved, of course. But as far as like conversations and that sort of thing, we haven't really had too many of them. I know during the walkthrough tomorrow, he'll be able to help us along and give his teammates some insight. And he did some of that today when we were kind of going through things. But you know, it'll be an emotional game for him for sure.
Adam Spolin.
Stephen, what were you guys able to do today that you haven't been able to do at practice the last couple of weeks?
We were able to go live. We went live in defensive stuff. We went live doing some offense. We were really intentional about our pick and roll coverage and protection. And it's one thing to walk through that stuff, but it's also another thing, excuse me. It's also another thing to go live when it comes to that. And that's what we were able to do. And it was great. It was great to actually have a practice where we can go live and guys can get after a little bit and they can see not just the principles, but like the speed and quickness that you have to have and the reaction time that you need to have when it comes to, playing defense, especially.
Michael Shapiro.
Hey, Stephen. PJ and Eric are really two of the only two kind of mainstays of this organization at this point. How have they helped kind of smooth this transition and this turnover you've seen in the roster?
They're consummate pros, both guys. And PJ is vocal, you know, leader, organizer, just so many different aspects to PJ's professionalism that translate to playing well and translate to locker room peace. And then Eric with his ability to adapt to any situation, whether he's starting, coming off the bench, dealing with injuries that we've had, and you know, coming every day with the mindset of how can I help the team, whether it's guarding Luka or the best player on the opposing team, or, you know, scoring 33 points in limited minutes. They're just both solid, professional, trustworthy guys that we can really count on. And that's been the foundation, really, of what we've been building from.
Thank you.
𝗪𝗧𝗏𝗘𝗖𝗧.
Hello, coach. How important for you is to build on the two last wins against the Pistons and the Mavericks, and how different will gonna be the approach on the matchup with Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook about the defense, because you played a great defense against Luka Doncic. How different will gonna be the approach on these two guys?
Yeah, so we just have to keep the momentum going from those two games. We did a good job in the Detroit game, and thank goodness for that 0.1 second, because we felt good about that one, and that probably led to us playing well in the Dallas game. But you know, it's building blocks, it's dealing with adversity, it's momentum, and we have good momentum right now, so we have to carry it into the Washington game. I wouldn't necessarily say we did a great job against Luka, but we, you know, did our best, and we held him down. But with Russ and Brad Beal, they're very different. You know, Russ is going to be downhill. We have to make sure that we're getting back in transition and not allowing him to play to his strengths, which is in the paint, and not allowing him to have angles, because he's so very good when he has angles. And then Brad Beal is a chore. I mean, he does a lot, whether it's coming off pin downs for his catch and shoot, whether it's pick and roll, whether it's isolation. He just is a tough guy to guard. So we talked a little bit about it today. We'll talk more about it tomorrow as a group, and have strategies to hopefully not allow those guys to play their strengths.
We'll take two more. Adam Spolin.
Is today the first time that John and Vic have shared the floor?
Yeah, it was the first time. So it was good to do some live stuff with both of those guys, especially on the offensive end. They're being tied together for those two on the defensive end, just because they're veteran players, is a little bit easier than the offensive part, and trying to figure out how they can work together. And that's going to be a process, but they're both willing to work with each other. They're happy to be together, and we'll see starting tomorrow what it looks like.
How'd it look?
Look good. They're they both can bring the ball up the floor. They both can play off the ball. They both can take advantage of the little actions that we have to get the ball to one of them and then get to a quick pick and roll. And they're both downhill players, so it looked good.
And last question, Jonathan Fagan.
You mentioned it could be somewhat emotional for John, and you know, as much of a veteran as he is, he's never played against a former team before. Are there things that you would point to from your experiences with guys in that situation that help it become beneficial rather than a detriment to have extra or different emotions?
Yeah, really just focusing on the group, especially from the point guard position. It's hard to find that balance between being too passive and trying to, you know, help your teammates play well, and kind of taking yourself out of it, as opposed to being super aggressive and trying to do it all yourself. And finding that middle ground, that middle road, is a tough thing to do. But I would say, leaning towards what's best for the team and not really kind of shifting it to myself and, what I need to do against the Wizards. That's my best answer. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's kind of how I feel about it. And he's such an unselfish guy, and has those leadership qualities to where I could see it to where he would really just want what's best for the group, and that's just how he's been since he's been here. But it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing playing against your old team, especially being there for so very long, and then before you know it, you're traded, and then this quickly coming back, especially coming back off an injury, coming back and playing against those guys, it'll be something. And I wish I had like a better answer for you, but really making it a team thing would be the best.
Thank you.